Hello, my friend. It is so good to have you here today. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine a piece of paper, just a piece of paper posted on a bulletin board. In a high school hallway in Wilmington, North Carolina, it is a list of names. The names of the boys who made the varsity basketball team. A 15-year-old boy walks down that hallway, his heart beating fast, his finger running down the list, looking for his own name. He reaches the bottom. His name is not there. He was cut. He walks home alone. He goes to his room. He closes the door, and he cries. My friend, that boy went on to win 6 NBA championships. He won 6 Finals MVP awards. He was named the greatest basketball player who ever lived. He built a global empire worth billions of dollars. And every single day of his career, every practice, every game, every time he stepped on a court, he thought about that list. He thought about his name not being on it. He used that moment for the rest of his life. This is the story of Michael Jordan. Michael Jeffrey Jordan was born on February 17, 1963, in Brooklyn, New York. His family moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, when he was a small boy. His father, James, was a man of strong hands and stronger values. His mother, Dolores, was the kind of woman who made sure her children understood one thing above everything else. She told them, "Nobody is going to give you anything in this life. You work for what you want, and you work harder than everyone else." Michael grew up with 4 siblings in a house full of noise and love and competition. He was not the most gifted of the Jordan children. His older brother Larry was actually better at basketball when they were young. The two of them played one-on-one every single afternoon in the backyard. Larry beat Michael almost every time, but Michael never stopped playing. He never stopped competing. He went to bed thinking about basketball. He woke up thinking about basketball. At Laney High School in Wilmington, Michael tried out for the varsity basketball team as a sophomore. He was 15 years old. He was 5 feet 11 inches tall. The coach was a man named Clifton Herring. Coach Herring posted the varsity roster on a bulletin board in the school hallway. Michael walked to that board with quiet confidence. He was sure his name would be there. He looked at the list. He looked again. His name was not on it. He was cut. His friend Harvest Leroy Smith made the team. Michael did not. He walked home from school that afternoon alone. He went straight to his room. He did not come out for a long time. His mother, Dolores, heard him crying through the door. She did not open it. She knew her son needed to feel this. She knew the pain was important. The next morning, Michael Jordan woke up before sunrise. He went to the gym. Alone, he started working every morning before school, every evening after school. Every weekend, he worked on his dribble. He worked on his shot. He worked on his footwork. He worked on everything. He made the junior varsity team that year, and while his friend Leroy Smith was playing varsity, Michael was averaging 40 points per game on junior varsity, 40 points per game. The coaches could not ignore him anymore. By his junior year, Michael had grown 4 inches. He was now 6 feet 3 inches tall. He made the varsity team. He dominated the varsity team. College recruiters started appearing in the stands at Laney High School games, and one of them was from the University of North Carolina. In 1981, Michael Jordan arrived at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He was 18 years old. He was playing for one of the most prestigious basketball programs in the country, under one of the greatest coaches who ever lived, Dean Smith. Dean Smith did not care about reputations. He did not care about potential. He cared about one thing. Can you do the work? Michael could. In his very first season at North Carolina, the Tar Heels reached the NCAA championship game. They were facing Georgetown University. The score was tied with 17 seconds remaining. Dean Smith called a timeout. He looked around at his players. He drew up a play. The ball was going to go to a freshman named Michael Jordan, with 17 seconds left in the national championship game. A first-year college student received the ball on the left wing. He did not hesitate. He shot. The ball went in. North Carolina won the national championship. Michael Jordan had hit the biggest shot of his young life, and nobody was surprised because Michael Jordan had been preparing for that moment since the day his name was not on a list. In 1984, Michael Jordan was selected third overall in the NBA draft by the Chicago Bulls. He was 21 years old. The Chicago Bulls were not a good team. They had never won anything, but from the very first game, it was clear that something had arrived in Chicago, something the NBA had never seen before. Michael Jordan was not just fast. He was not just explosive. He was not just skilled. He played every single possession like it was the last possession of the last game of his life. His teammates noticed. His coaches noticed. His opponents noticed, even in practice, even in a scrimmage that meant nothing. Michael Jordan played like the scoreboard was visible to the whole world. His rookie season, he averaged 28 points per game. He was named Rookie of the Year. He was an all-star, but the championships were not there yet. The Detroit Pistons stood in the way. Year after year, they were called the Bad Boys. They were physical. They were violent. They hit Michael Jordan every time he drove to the basket. They had a strategy called the Jordan Rules. The idea was simple. Hit him hard every time. Make him pay for every basket he scored. For 3 years, the Pistons eliminated the Bulls from the playoffs. Michael scored 40 points. Touch points in a single game against the Boston Celtics, and still, no championship. Critics said he could not win. Critics said he was a scorer, not a champion. They said he needed to trust his teammates more. They said he needed to change. Michael heard every word. He used every word. In 1989, Phil Jackson became the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Jackson brought with him a system called the triangle offense. He brought with him a philosophy. He told Michael something that changed everything. He said, "You cannot win alone. Your team is more powerful than one man. Let your teammates become what they can be." Michael Jordan was the hardest person in the world to tell this to, because Michael Jordan believed in himself more than anyone else believed in anything, but he listened. And slowly he started to trust. He trusted Scottie Pippen. He trusted Horace Grant. He trusted the system. And in 1991, the Chicago Bulls won their first NBA championship. Michael Jordan collapsed to the floor of the locker room. He held the trophy against his chest. He wept like a child. He wept for the boy who was cut from the team. He wept for the mornings before sunrise. He wept for every hit the Pistons gave him. He wept for every word every critic ever said. 1991, champions. 1982, champions again. 1993, champions again. 3 in a row. The dynasty had begun. But then, in October of 1993, Michael Jordan did something nobody expected. He retired. He was 30 years old. He was at the absolute peak of his powers, and he walked away. His father, James, had been murdered that summer. Shot by 2 teenagers in a robbery while sleeping in his car in South Carolina. James Jordan was gone. The man who had driven Michael to practices. The man who had stood on the sideline. The man who had believed in his son before the rest of the world caught up. Michael Jordan was not the same person anymore. He tried baseball. He played in the minor leagues for the Birmingham Barons. He was average. He was ordinary. For the first time in his life, Michael Jordan was just a man, not a god, just a man grieving his father. In March of 1995, 2 words appeared on the fax machines of every sports newsroom in America. 2 words, "I'm back." Michael Jordan returned to the Chicago Bulls. He was 32 years old. He had been away for 21 months. The game had moved on without him, or so people thought. In his first full season back, 1996, the Chicago Bulls won 72 games, the most wins in NBA history at that time. They won the championship. 1997, champions again. 1998, champions again. 6 championships total, 6 finals MVP awards. The second three-peat complete, and in the final game of his Bulls career, Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals against the Utah Jazz, with 5.2 seconds remaining, the Bulls trailing by 1 point. Michael Jordan stole the ball from Karl Malone. He drove to the top of the key. He pulled up, he shot, he held his follow-through. He watched the ball arc through the air and fall through the net. Chicago led by 1. 2 seconds later, the game was over. The Bulls were champions, and Michael Jordan stood on the court of the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. His arm still extended, his wrist still bent, holding the follow-through of the most famous shot in basketball history. He did not move. He just held it like he was making sure the whole world saw. My friend, the story of Michael Jordan is really a story about one moment, one list, one hallway, one piece of paper with his name missing from it, everything that came after, the championships, the MVPs, the global empire, the most famous athlete who ever lived. All of it was built on that one afternoon in Wilmington, North Carolina. When a 15-year-old boy walked home alone and cried in his room, here is what Michael Jordan said about that moment years later. He said, "Whenever I was working out and got tired and figured I ought to stop, I'd close my eyes and see that list in the locker room without my name on it. And that usually got me going again, a piece of paper. That is all it was, a piece of paper that did not have his name on it, and he carried it with him for the rest of his life. Not as a wound, as a weapon. Maybe tonight, my friend, you have your own list, your own piece of paper, your own moment where someone looked at you and decided you were not enough. A rejection letter, a job you did not get, a team that did not want you, a person who chose someone else. Maybe that piece of paper is sitting somewhere in your memory right now, collecting dust, feeling like proof of something. But here is what Michael Jordan showed the world. That piece of paper is not proof that you cannot. It is the first page of the story of how you did keep going, one morning before sunrise, one shot at a time, until the list cannot be written without your name on it. Thank you for spending this time with me today, my friend, if this story moved you. Leave a comment below. Tell me which moment stayed with you the most. Was it the hallway, the final shot in Utah, or the man weeping on the locker room floor with the trophy in his arms? I read every single word you write. Until next time, take care of yourself and when the night falls. Come back